So hello my dear students, welcome once again to biology class. We are dealing with the chapter excretion and its excretory products and eliminations. We have learned about the definition of excretions, then we have learned about nitrogenous and non-nitrogenous waste products, the modes of excretions, aminotelism, ureotelism, urecotelisms, aminotelism, guanotelism. Then we have discussed about the human excretory systems. We have learned about the structure of the kidney. Okay, then we have learned about the nephrons and like the structure of the nephrons, which is very important in terms of examinations. Now we'll continue with the same topic, with the same chapter, and we are going to learn about the topic physiology of urine formation, which is also very important in terms of examinations, page number 19.13. okay, so even this particular topic we have done in class 10. If you remember that the urine formation, it involves three steps or three processes: ultrafiltration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretions. Okay, so this ultrafiltration is occurs in the malphizian capsules. Okay, it's also called the ultrafiltration. So Bowman's capsule, it acts as the ultra filters. Okay, so when the blood flows through the glomerular capillaries, water and all the substances which are dissolved in the plasma, they will pour their filter into the cavity of Bowman's capsules. If you remember that the diameter of the efferent arteriole is much smaller than that of the efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole means the one that's entering inside the Bowman's capsules, and the efferent arteriole is the one that is leaving the Bowman's capsule. So the diameter of the efferent arteriole is slightly narrower compared to the efferent arteriole. So the blood will flow through this capillary with the enormous pressure, right? So within the Bowman's capsules, or within the malphizian capsules, that is mainly composed of Bowman's capsule and the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus, we'll call malphizian capsules. There will be the process of ultrafiltrations. So filtration is called the ultrafiltrations, right? And the filtrate is called the nephric filtrate. We're saying that whenever the blood will flow through the glomerular capillaries wall, all the substances which are dissolved in the plasma will filter it into the cavity of the Bowman's capsule, and this is called the ultrafiltration. And the filtrate is called the nephric filtrate, or the glomerular filtrate, or the ultrafiltrate. And that filtrate will contain the water, the dissolved substances like urea, uric acid, creatinine, amino acid, glucose, sodium ion, potassium ion, and vitamins. Okay, so these particular substances, they are present in the glomerular filtrate. Now from the Bowman's capsules or from the malphizian capsules, this particular filtrate goes to the tubular part of the nephron. Okay, that will be PCT, the loop of Henle, then to the DCT. So those filtrate goes to the tubular part, where there will be the tubular reabsorption or the selective reabsorption of the substances. So the second process of urine formation is tubular reabsorptions. So from the Bowman's capsule, the glomerular filtrate will pass through the tubules. It passed to the collecting duct. That means from the PCT to the loop of Henle, the ascending loop, descending loop, the DCT, then to the collecting duct. Okay, so during this time, what I mean is that there will be changes in their composition, their osmotic pressure, their pH. Okay, due to the reabsorption of water and many other substances which are essential for the body. Right, so the reabsorption of only useful substances from the nephric filtrate or from the glomerular filtrate into the blood capillary is called the tubular reabsorption or the selective reabsorption. That means those useful substances which are required by the body will be reabsorbed from those glomerular filtrate. Water will be reabsorbed. So this particular process is called selective reabsorption. So now we are going to talk about the process of reabsorptions in the tubular part and in the collecting duct. So first one, we'll talk about the reabsorptions in proximal convoluted tubules. Okay, so PCT is mainly concerned with the reabsorptions. Okay, so its epithelial cell is composed of numerous mitochondria and the microvilli. So this PCT is mainly concerned with the reabsorptions of glucose, amino acid, and most of the inorganic ions like sodium, potassium, and chlorines with water and some urea. Okay, so from the filtrate, these indirect glucose, amino acids, most of the inorganic ions like sodium, potassium, chlorine, water, and urea will be reabsorbed. Then there will be reabsorptions in the loop of Henle, which have got two loops, descending limb and the ascending limb. Now in the descending limb, there also be reabsorptions. So the upper thick segment of descending limb is impermeable to ions, urea and water. Okay, just transfer the isotonic solution to the narrow segment of descending limb. So the lower thin segment of descending limb is freely permeable to water. So that means in the lower segment of descending limb there will be reabsorptions. Okay, there will be higher concentrations of urea and sodium chloride. So since we have got higher concentration of sodium chloride and water, in urea in the lower segment of descending limb, so water will move out of the filtrate by osmosis into the interstitial fluid. Okay, then due to the exit of water, filtrate becomes hypertonic, it becomes concentrated by the time it reaches the loop and enters the ascending one. In the ascending limb, it also impermeable to water along with entire length. Okay, but its lower thin segment is permeable to ions like sodium, potassium and chlorine and urea. Clear over here? Over here what I mean is that since in the lower arm of the descending limb we have got higher concentration of sodium chloride and urea, but here in the ascending limb, look over there, the thin segment actively transports sodium chloride from the filtrate to the interstitial fluid in medulla. That means here there will be a less concentration of sodium chloride. Okay, and the filtrate becomes hypotonic to blood plasmination limb of Henle, and from the loop of Henle the filtrate will pass to the DCT. Now in the DCT there will be reabsorption of water, there will be reabsorption of sodium ion, and there will be reabsorption of bicarbonate ion. First of all, let's talk about the reabsorption of water in the DCT. Okay, so when water in the blood plasma goes down, listen very carefully, when the concentration of the water in the blood plasma goes down, the posterior pituitary lobe will secrete the hormone called antidiuretic hormone or ADH. Okay, so this ADH hormone will increase the permeability of DCT, collecting duct and the collecting tubules. So water will be reabsorbed from the filtrate and the urine will be concentrated and it will be produced in lesser amount. So one thing that when the blood plasma will have lower concentration of water, then the posterior pituitary will release ADH, antidiuretic hormone. Now this will increase the permeability of the DCT, the collecting tubules and the collecting duct. So water will be reabsorbed from the filtrate, and as a result, since water will be reabsorbed from the filtrate or the urine becomes concentrated and will be produced in lesser amount. Now as soon as the water level of the plasma comes to normal, okay, now the ADH secretions will be stopped. Okay, so when the water level in the plasma comes to the normal level, now the production of ADH will be stopped. And on doing this one, what I mean is that the permeability of DCT, collecting duct and the collecting tubules will also decreases, and the less water will be reabsorbed from the filtrate. And whenever the less water will be reabsorbed from the filtrate, now the urine becomes dilute and will be produced in more quantity. Clear? Number 2, let's talk about reabsorption of sodium ion. So under the influence of aldosterone, DCT, collecting tubule, collecting duct, they actively reabsorb sodium ions from the filtrate under the influence of aldosterone. Okay, so reabsorption of sodium results in the uptake of osmotically equivalent amount of water also. Now lack of aldosterone makes the DCT, collecting duct and the collecting tubule impermeable to ions. So that means in the presence of aldosterone, this collecting duct, collecting tubules, okay, DCT, they become permeable to ions and they will have the more amount of sodium ions along with the water. But in the absence of this aldosterone, what I mean is that the DCT, collecting duct, collecting tubule, they becomes impermeable to ions. Number C is reabsorption of bicarbonate ions and amino acids, because they have reabsorbed from the filtrate into the medullary interstitial fluids. Clear? Okay, so we have the reabsorption in DCT, collecting tubules and collecting duct. The last one is the active tubular secretion. So we have the 3 processes: ultrafiltration, reabsorption and secretions. Now third part is active tubular secretions, which will involve the movement of toxic substances from the peritubular capillary and interstitial fluids and epithelial cells of nephron into the glomerular filtrate. So in active tubular secretions, there will be movement of toxic substances from the nephronic part into the glomerular filtrate. Okay, so it is mainly achieved by the active transport or by the passive transport. So during this active tubular secretions, potassium ions are secreted into the filtrate in DCT and collecting duct. Hydrogen ions, ammonium ions, bicarbonate ions, they are secreted from the blood into the filtrate in DCT. Okay, urea enters the filtrate in the ascending limb of Henle's loop, and creatine, hippuric acid, para-amine hippuric acid, drugs, pigments, they are secreted into the filtrate in the DCT from interstitial fluids. So here we have finished the physiology of urine formations. Okay, so just go through it. Clear? Just go through process of urine formations, that is ultrafiltration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretion. If the question comes about the physiology of urine formation, kindly mention the three processes in details. Clear? Okay. Now next one we'll talk about micturition. Now what is micturition? The process or the tendency of release of urine is called micturition. So whenever there is tendency of urination, or whenever we release the urine, that is called micturition, and it is under the neural mechanisms, which also called the micturition reflex. So urine is stored in the urinary bladder. It's under the voluntary signals, okay, and it's controlled by the C and central nervous systems. So this signal is initiated by the stretching of the urinary bladder. So when the bladder will becomes filled with the urine, it will stretch, okay, and on that the signal will be given to the CNS. So stretch receptors on the wall of the bladder will send the signal to the CNS, and from CNS signal will be passed to the motor message to initiate the contraction of the smooth muscles of the bladder. And when there will be a contraction of the muscles of the bladder, the urethral sphincter will open up, and that will release the urine to the urethra, and from the urethra it will be expelled to the outside. So this process of release of urine is called micturition. Now let's talk about the disorders of excretory systems. First one is uremia. Okay, so uremia means whenever there will be increase in the concentration of urea. So due to the malfunctioning of the kidney, whenever the kidney will functions abnormally, okay, the concentrations of the urea will keep on increasing, and that particular disease or disorder is called uremia. So conditions when level of urea and other nitrogenous waste in the blood increases, it is called uremia. And in such case we have to go with the artificial removal of this waste product, which is called hemodialysis. Okay, and in case of kidney failure also we have to go for hemodialysis, otherwise that individuals who have this kidney failure will mainly die due to the accumulation of this highly toxic nitrogenous waste product. Next one is renal failure or kidney failure. In renal failure, kidneys are unable to carry out the renal functions properly or partials, and it will lead to the uremia, that is increase in the concentration of urea and other nitrogenous waste products. There will be imbalance of salts and water in the blood, retention of water in the body, and stoppage of erythropoietin secretions. Okay, and kidney failure can be caused by bacterial infections, bacterial toxins, glomerulonephritis, high blood pressure, obstruction of arterial vein, internal depositions of calcium and urates, and hemorrhages. These are the different regions of kidney failure. Next one is renal calculi or kidney stones, which are mainly found by the accumulation of oxalate crystals. Okay, and this will block the kidney tubules, and whenever these stones will pass down from the tubules to the ureter, this will cause the blockage of the urine flow in the ureters, and it will lead to enormous pain on the backside that will mainly spread from the backside to the thigh area also. And depending on the size of the kidney, we have to either go through the different processes like surgery also, where we have to remove these kidney stones, or we can go through lithotripsy, where you can remove the kidney stones. Now where the most one is hemodialysis. Okay, we also call artificial kidney or hemodialyzer. So artificial kidney is used to filter the blood of a person whose kidney are damaged. That means the individuals whose kidney are damaged, in that case we have to go for the artificial kidney. Okay, the process of purifying blood by means of artificial kidney or hemodialyzer is called hemodialysis. Very carefully, the process of purifying blood by means of artificial kidney or hemodialysis is called hemodialysis, and it works on the principle of dialysis and separates small molecules from larger colloidal molecules from one solution into other one when they are separated by a thin semi-permeable membrane. So when the kidney will fail to function, when there will be the increase in the concentration of nitrogen waste products in the body, then we have to go for the artificial kidney or the hemodialyzer, which is called hemodialysis. So here we have finished the chapter excretory products and their eliminations. Kindly go through the topics whichever I have done in these online classes. No need to go through the other topics which I have not done. Okay, so go through this online video class of this chapter and prepare from that for examinations. So see you in next class with the last chapter, that is body fluids and circulations. Clear? So study well and see you in next class. Thank you.